Hello, and welcome back to My Last Vinyl, the show where I like vinyls, I buy vinyls, and this is My Last Vinyl. This is Good Kid, M.A.A.d by Kendrick Lamar, and it was released in 2012, but I just got it recently, even though I had been looking at getting it for quite some time. I'll be holding off with telling you the price just yet, because it is insane how cheap I got this for. Because I want to give you some backstory first. My first listen to this was in school when I was in 7th grade. In Swedish terms, I don't know exactly how it translates, but I was 13, 14 years old around there. And my taste in especially hip-hop music was pretty tame, if you could call it that. I wasn't really exploring anything special that much, and I stuck to my tried and tested Eminem and stuff like that. When my friend started introducing me to more hip-hop, just in general, like expanding my view, he showed me J. Cole, he showed me Kanye West, he showed me all those things, and within those he recommended Kendrick Lamar. At first I was skeptical, because I'd only heard m.A.A.d from this, and you can imagine, if you're coming from the more just clear lyrical rapping stuff, first of all, the beat switch on that was a culture shock for me. It wasn't something that I had heard before, and everything around that song was just so much new stuff. So I'd only heard that song, and I wasn't sure that I was going to like it. But I still gave it a shot, because I wanted to build a little list of rappers that I wanted to listen through their whole discography on, and I was like, yeah, sure. If my friend is recommending this to me, then he must know what he's doing. And I'm very happy he did. Ever since then, this album has been on my radar, and I kept exploring his music, and as you know, I have To Pimp a Butterfly, I have Mr. Moral, I have Damn on vinyl. I have all of those. So this basically just waited because it got so expensive. But one day my friend actually asked me what I wanted for my birthday, because I had invited over some friends for my birthday. Believe I was turning 18, and he just asked, what do you want? And I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't mind a vinyl. So he asked me which one I wanted, and I was picking between this one, I believe it was with the other cover, the one where he's a kid, and The Off-Season by J. Cole. I believe it was because of the prices that I picked the one from J. Cole instead, because that was cheaper and it felt bad to point out the more expensive one and be like, I want that one. I got the cheaper one, and I had to regret that, because I believe it honestly doubled in price. And as I said, there are more than one album cover to this one. First of all, you have the one where he's a kid. I believe that's the original, but I'm not sure. I'm not fully caught up on all of that. But this one has deluxe songs. It has some extra songs, which I'll get to in just a bit. But yeah, this is the one with some bonus tracks. And then finally we have the 10-year anniversary one, which I don't like too much. I understand they need to print out a new version, but it's just the car on a black background. Over to the price of this. And to tell you the price, I need to tell you the story. Because, like I said, I was a bit mad at myself because I picked the cheaper vinyl when I realized that the prices flew up. All of the ones I saw were going for like 50 or 60 bucks, even on the second-hand market, and they weren't in stock with the sealed reissues. I just kept an eye on the second-hand market, and all of a sudden, one late evening, one popped up for 115 crowns. I'm not going to just guess a conversion on that, because this price is crazy, so I'll just put it up here. Getting this double vinyl, which usually costs around 50 to 60 bucks, if you're lucky you can get it for 45 maybe. And getting it for that low of a price is just insane. I immediately had to get it. I believe he posted it as an auction, but with a buy now price as well. And the buy now price was 115 crowns. I immediately pressed, yup, I'm getting that. So the next day I went to go get it. I ate my food so fast because I wanted to have as much of a lunch break as possible to go get this vinyl. When I met up, he was a really nice guy, and I just couldn't avoid mentioning how crazy this was. So I just said like, do you collect or whatever? Or I realized that was a mistake. Thankfully he didn't raise the price, but he looked so almost hurt, and it feels bad now afterwards. Because I said that, why did you post it so cheap? I just had to get it instantly, I couldn't believe the price. And he was like, does this go for much more? Yeah, I don't think he was updated. He felt a bit like the type of guy who buys a vinyl to put it in a little frame and put it up on the wall, so maybe it wasn't that updated. And if that's the case, I don't feel too bad. But if he's a collector, I'm just shook that he hadn't looked up the price. So, finally, over to the things that I usually talk about. Here's the album cover. We have Kendrick Lamar's childhood van. If I've understood it correctly, me and my friend, we have this gag where whenever we see this model of a car, we just have to start singing The Art of Peer Pressure. Little Good Kid, M.A.A.d, a short film by Kendrick Lamar. On the back here we have the track list. Among these, my favorites are definitely The Art of Peer Pressure, Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst, but I prefer the Sing About Me part of it. I'm Dying of Thirst is good, but I would prefer if they were two different tracks, so that if I get bored of one I can just stick to the other. And I had a hard time picking my third one, but I believe Real must be up there. And Anna-wise, she is incredible on this track and many older things that she has done together with Kendrick Lamar. But of course you have the classic ones, Good Kid and m.A.A.d and all of those. The only one I truly skip is Poetic Justice, and it's not only because I dislike Drake, it's just I don't find it that good. Enough about that. Down here I've placed the 2 vinyls that you get. It's a simple black vinyl, which I appreciate. This is truly a vinyl album to me. So having it in a classic black vinyl, I like having that. And also, speaking of favorite tracks, something that I'm missing on this is County Building Blues. It is up on Spotify as a single with this album cover, if I remember correctly. So I have built my own playlist called Good Kid, M.A.A.d Palatial that includes The Heart Part 3, which was the single he posted before this, together with, I don't remember his group name, Black Hippie. And then County Building Blues comes, and then this album with all of its bonus tracks. But I have seen that on some South Korean or Japanese versions of this album, you do get County Building Blues included, but sadly it's not on this one. As you could tell, this is one that I have been looking forward to talking about for a long time now, because I've mentioned that I've had this long list that I'm getting through, and I was really looking forward to talking about this one because I had so much to say about it. A lot of backstory. There's not as much told about the actual music in this video, but there's a lot of story behind me getting this in my collection, and it's a prime example of what a collection purchase should be. And that's why I'm considering making a video about my whole collection, so the ones that you haven't seen in this series, but we'll see what I do about that. Nonetheless, this has been Good Kid, M.A.A.d by Kendrick Lamar, and remember, this is not my last vinyl, that is just the name of this show, but I can stop whenever I feel like it, because I don't have a problem, I just have a lot of music that I like. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this, then please like the video to show YouTube that this should be pushed to more people like you. Comment, whatever, do you have an interesting backstory with this album or something else? And would you be interested in a vinyl collection video, my whole collection showcased? And subscribe to not miss next month's video, which comes up on the 14th at 2 PM CEST or CET, whatever time zone Sweden is in at that moment. Don't forget to check out my links in the description below. Take care everyone, and I'll see you next month. Goodbye.